What if I told you the key to winning more Bedwars games isn't just about faster bridging or better aim? It's about something far more subtle, a series of micro decisions made by professional players that often go unnoticed. We will break down one of Dewier's games. He's a top tier Bedwars player, and watch how every single choice he makes, even in the very first minute, sets him up for victory. And trust me, what he does at the very end to secure the win is so important that if you want to actually improve at Bedwars, you do not want to miss it. So right away you can see Dewier starts his rush with about 48 blocks, and he also buys a stone sword. This opening is very strong because the extra 1 damage per hit often makes the difference in the first fight. With a stone sword you can usually kill your opponent twice, so before getting the bed and then right after getting the bed for the final kill. This just makes it easier for you to finish your first rush fast. As he bridges out, notice how quickly he's moving. On the way he picks up 1 diamond. And that's a very confident play. Only a strong PvP player does that. Why? Because if you get into a fight and lose, you hand it over to your opponent. But Dewier knows he can either throw it off the map in time, or bank it, or even spend it before dying. He's not worried about getting caught off guard. He engages in the first fight, places some clever blocks, and knocks the enemy away. But after that, green is very low on health, so he doesn't stick around. Instead he pulls back because number 1, he has a diamond he needs to spend or bank, and number 2, he will need that pickaxe anyway. So if he's quick enough, he can buy it with the resources from the generator, and then break the bed before needing to kill the enemy a second time. That's the plan, but unfortunately he's not fast enough. The enemy catches up and Dewier decides to kill him. And with the time he buys himself, he spends the diamond on a mining fatigue trap. That trap is one of the best purchases you can make with a single diamond. It slows down bed breaks and gives you a huge defensive advantage. Next he runs into the generator to grab all the resources, which would be enough for a pickaxe. But here's a small mistake, he doesn't walk far enough into the generator, so he doesn't pick the resources all up. Realizing he won't have time to buy a pickaxe, he makes another smart move. He banks all the resources into his ender chest. That way, if he dies, green will be empty-handed, while Dewier still has all his loot safe for the next push. And as you can see, he dies since he was low on health. After respawning, he doesn't have enough gold yet for iron armor. Instead, he buys a fireball, a tier 2 pickaxe, and some ladders. Tier 2 pickaxes are amazing in the first rush because they shred through endstone very quickly. Usually you can knock your opponent away, break the bed in a second, and then only need to kill them once. Fireballs at this stage are also insanely versatile. You can use them to knock players off bridges, fireball jump onto their base, or clutch dangerous fights. Now watch closely here. Green comes towards him, and Dewier places a perfect fireball behind them. It knocks green forward and sideways, beautiful placement, but green is actually pretty skilled and manages to clutch onto the side of the bridge. Now this becomes dangerous because if Dewier misplays, he could easily lose his own bed now. And this is why he plays extra carefully. Most likely, green does not have a fireball at hand, since Dewier stole all of his resources earlier, so he can play a bit more risky. He starts placing blocks to cover himself, making sure green cannot get an easy hit on him. Once it's safe, he jumps down to engage. So he can easily kill green here, and since he already has that fast pickaxe, he can go straight for the endstone. He breaks it quickly, boxes himself in, and now we see another high level move. Block hitting. If you're not familiar, block hitting reduces the damage you take by about 50%. The risk is that you can get comboed easily and knocked back. And near the void, that's very dangerous. But since he's boxed in and he has a wall behind his back, he can fully commit to block hitting. This lets him both knock the enemy far away and cut the damage he takes in half. Even though he starts the fight at barely over half a heart, he wins it easily. The bed is gone, green is eliminated, and Dewier takes control. Immediately after, he looks around to make sure no one is rushing him from mid. That kind of awareness is what separates him from other players. He is still low on health though, so if anyone rushes him here, it would be very dangerous. To prepare, he buys a golden apple. That way he can just gap up before heading out. At this point, he notices blue and red at mid. That's a huge warning sign. If either of them gets back to the base, they could buy obsidian, invisibility, or other upgrades that make the game very hard to win. So he gaps up and heads towards mid himself. Here's where it gets interesting. Red and blue start fighting each other. This is the perfect time to third party. When two players fight, the survivor is usually low on health, which makes it easy for a third player to swoop in. Red kills blue, so now red probably has a pocket full of emeralds. Now watch Dewier's decision making here. He could easily throw a fireball or knock red straight into the void. But that would give red the chance to toss the emeralds and diamonds away before dying. Instead, Dewier wants the loot, so he cuts off red, resists the urge to void kill, and lines up for a clean sword fight. Here's where mechanics come in. He places a single block to manipulate reach. Since reach is calculated from eye level, if Dewier positions right, he can hit red while red cannot hit him back easily, since he's not in his reach. So that one block gives him the angle he needs. Then, instead of killing red right away, he does something clever. He switches briefly from his sword to his ladders. The reason? He doesn't want to finish red yet. If he kills him here, he would have to fight him again after breaking the bed. Instead, he knocks him away, shreds through the wool with the shears, breaks the bed, and then finishes him off when red is just a one hit. The result? 5 emeralds and 2 diamonds collected, and red is out of the game. But now there is danger. Gray is rushing Dewier's base. Many players here would panic void, but that would be a terrible mistake. If Dewier voided, he would respawn with just a wooden sword against an opponent in iron armor and maybe more upgrades. He would lose instantly, so instead he gears up. He buys an ender pearl, which is basically a second life in Bedwars. If you get knocked into the void, you can pearl to safety. You can also use it aggressively or to escape from a fight. He also buys a bridge egg, because on this map that's a super powerful tool. Because one egg can diagonally connect you to the next base. And since he is at red base, the adjacent base is Gray, who still has a bed and took his bed, so that's a perfect target. With the bridge egg, he gets straight to Gray, breaks the bed, and notices Gray has just voided. This could get very risky. He gaps for safety, but instead of forcing a fight, he makes the smartest play. He throws a fireball into Gray's generator to destroy all the iron and gold. Now Gray cannot collect resources when they respawn. And then Dewier does not engage into a fight. He does not have iron armor yet, he doesn't have sharpness, he doesn't have protection, and that's why he dips out, grabs diamonds, and gears up. Now with sharpness, he's much stronger. He has 10 gold in hand, and while he could wait for 2 more to buy iron armor, he doesn't. Instead, he saves the gold and heads straight to mid. Remember, he denied Gray the generator, so he has tempo. He wants emeralds in order to get diamond armor, and then with the 10 gold saved, he could just get an iron sword and a gap, for example. But when he checks mids, the timers are low. 50 seconds left and no emeralds are in the gens. That means someone was here just now, so he switches to F5 immediately, checking for players or invis particles. Soon he spots blue, and here he goes for a sneaky play. He hides behind blocks, makes sure no one else is nearby to third party him, and then sets up the ambush. Unfortunately, blue gets knocked into the void, tossing the emeralds out. Bad luck, but Dewier still goes for the bed. He only engages because he has both the pearl and the golden apple. Safe backup if things go wrong. So he knocks blue away, takes the bed, and then cleans up for a final kill. Notice again how he always gaps up after fights, just in case a player shows up. And now actually Gray is coming, and check his fireball placement here when Gray is approaching. He aims at the top right hand corner of the enemy's hitbox, which creates a downward knockback angle. Usually, fireballs just knock players up or backwards, but with this placement it usually sends them straight down. It doesn't work perfectly this time, but it's often devastating. Gray then makes a very aggressive fireball jump in and the fight gets too risky. But since Dewier has a pearl and he does not have armor yet, he wants to leave. He uses his pearl to escape, and this is another very smart life-saving play. Now, think about this. At this stage of the game, literally everyone has iron armor except of Dewier. He's still rocking leather gear. This means every fight is very risky. Without a golden apple even in his inventory, he does not want to fight at all. Instead, he goes back to mid, grabs more emeralds, and finally secures 4 of them. It's not enough for diamond armor, but it would be enough for a pearl. And again, notice here how often he uses F5. He's constantly checking for invis particles, scanning for other players, and making sure he's not about to get ambushed. He sees Gray at blue, white is at white, and aqua is at aqua. He's safe for now. So he heads to a quiet side of the map where no enemies are, grabs diamonds, and finally upgrades. With 8 diamonds and 4 emeralds, he buys protection 1 and 2, iron armor, another pearl, a fireball, and a knockback stick. And that stick is ridiculously strong for just 5 gold. In sweaty fights, it can completely turn the tide. At this point, Aqua took out white, now it's just Aqua, Grey and Dewier. This is where things get dangerous. So late game invis rushes are very common. So Dewier towers up to check for particles and to get vision. He presses tab to check health bars. And that's also where he sees that Aqua and Grey are fighting, and Aqua slightly ahead in health. He now has two options, either farm more emeralds to gear up or run straight to Aqua and third party the fight and end the game immediately. He chooses the latter. So here's the setup. Grey is camping above Aqua's bed. Dewier wants them to fight so he can pearl in. So he wants to throw a fireball at Aqua's defense to steer things up, basically throwing fuel into the fire and trying to make Grey engage the fight. But Grey actually throws his own fireball and engages. He breaks Aqua's bed and they start fighting. Dewier waits patiently for a bit and is checking tab to see the health of Aqua. And then when Grey goes down, he sees that Aqua is only on half health. This is the perfect timing. He pearls straight in, completely catches Aqua off guard and finds them shopping in the shop. They didn't even notice the pearl and that's how he closes it out. An easy, clean win built on patience, smart decisions and insane game sense. If you want to keep improving, check out my other Bedwars guides right here. Thanks for watching and I will see you in the next one. GG.